Hello everyone, welcome back to another Omae Chris video. Today I have a very cool team against the Pirate King Adventures level 100 plus, and you will see on the final stage that this team will easily be able to handle level 150, probably getting up to level 180 at least. We do a couple billion. Of course, I don't think it will actually get to level 200, which is about 30 billion, but 150 very easy. Now this team we are using Legend Queen. This is a character that I think is quite underrated and such a good unit for this piece of content. So Queen is good for various reasons on this piece of content. The main reason I chose to use him was because his special not only reduces the defense up and threshold on the final stage, but he also has type advantage and class advantage to the enemy. In addition to that, he completely negates everything on stage 3 with his captain action. So Queen is just a very convenient character to use here, and of course we are using some boosters here, and we aren't using any of the new Garling or GARP friend captains. So if you struggle to find friend captains and you want to still get to a higher level while still getting at least 2 dupes, then this is a great team for you. In terms of stall, we don't really have to stall too much. I'd recommend using a -2 cooldown ship, so either the whale sharks, the catapult ship works, or you can use the host ship. There is instant burn on the final stage, so if you want to make sure that you can survive that, I'd recommend using whale sharks. You could also use the catapult ship. Hope could work, but you won't be able to hit as many perfects, which still isn't that much of a problem. You only really need to hit the perfects on Queen and the friend captain Queen, and you'll be dealing billions of damage. In terms of the support abilities, definitely the best one here is going to be the Bonnie support. Bonnie reduces 5 turns of bind when we get inflicted with it. So on stage 3 we're going to use the captain action of Queen to negate the 9 turns of bind and despair to our top row. So activating the captain action on stage 2 allows us to ignore those debuffs on the 3rd stage. And Queen is also great because we get a 3 turn special limiter. Queen has the potential ability to reduce that. You don't need it maxed. Level 1 is completely fine with double Queen. That'll reduce 2 of the 3 turns, and by the 4th stage, when you actually need to use your specials, that will be gone. So as long as you have that 1 turn of special limit reduction, you will be fine. We aren't using Queen super tandem, unfortunately. It requires too many characters that are not really viable on the team. Nami and Karina is the most important character here when it comes to providing G-orbs on the final stage. This will allow us to get around the barrier, which unfortunately is the most annoying gimmick in this content, because we essentially have no good characters that give you G-orbs besides Nami and Karina. There is the option to use Raise Max support ability, but unfortunately we are using Queen special on the final stage, and that will shuffle the G-orbs away. So we need Nami and Karina. There's swap effect, we can use it last and get the G-orbs. She's also great for contributing to damage, and she also reduces the last few turns of threshold that Queen will not reduce. We have Milk and Prona as well as Sabo and Koala, great for dupe dropping, but also for reducing all 10 turns of the special bind combined, and then also giving us a lot of damage. We have a color affinity and an attack boost from Sabo and Koala, and they also allow us to get around the 3 stacks of hunger on stage 4, and then Milk and Prona gives us a 3x conditional attack boost. So everyone here works splendidly together, and I haven't mentioned Kuma yet, but he's also a really good character, not only facilitating the Bonnie support, but he also is going to allow us to get so much damage with his chain boundary effect, and it will actually last for 3 turns, so we can use it on stage 4. Kuma will give us a orb boost, a chain boundary on stage 4, and then we also have the Sanji support, which will activate, reducing 2 turns of bind and giving us a 1.5x attack boost. So we'll have a 1.5x attack boost, a 1.75x orb boost, a full board of matching orbs. We'll actually have some G orbs from Nami and Karina's swap effect, a base attack boost, color affinity from Queen, which is kind of useless. So stage 4 is a very easy kill. Just make sure that you do consume the recovery orbs so that you can remove the hunger stacks. It's also very important that your units are in the exact same order as I have it right here. and that your units are starting off in the exact forms of their dual units. Kaido here is great to make sure that you kill on stage 4, but if I'm being honest, he's really not required. With Kuma giving us the chain boundary, it's a very easy kill. But if your queen is at level 99, you might want to make sure you have that Kaido support, just to make sure he has enough attack on stage 4. We have Zoro there for just a chain boost on the final stage. But in terms of stage 4, we get 12 turns of bind to our crewmates. Goes down to 9 with sockets, down to 4 with Bonnie support, down to 1 with the Ace support, and down to 0 with the Sanji support. I think I've explained everyone here. Let's get straight into the quest, and I'm really happy with how this team turned out. It is a bit of stall, and it's not the most fast team, but it is very fun, and it's very cool to use such an old legend that really doesn't see play a lot in content. So let's see how this team works. So on stage 1 and for stage 2 as well, the main goal here is to get your swap effects ready. Now when it comes to up to level 150, you really don't need to do this. The main reason is for damage, of course, getting the stronger base attack boost and orb multiplier change from the Nami and Karina swap effect, and then also getting the conditional attack boost from Mihawk and Perona's super swap. We do need the super swap to get the enemy with the negative status on the final stage. The enemy does have full immunity, so Mihawk and Perona's regular swap does not go through that. We do need a super swap. As for Sabo and Koala, the only reason we need their super swap is for a stronger color affinity. It's about only 1.5x if you have the regular swap, but if you super swap them, it will give you a 2.25x color affinity, which is much better for damage. Of course, Queen will have type advantage on stage 5. So the main goal here is just to get these super swaps ready, and we need to make sure that Queen is ready on stage 4. If you want to make sure that this team is no stall until level 150, you could attach Mr. 3 support to your Queen instead of Kaido. This would only really work if your Queen is decently invested, so that he can kill without the Kaido support. But if you have Mr. 3 on Queen, it's an extra 2 turns of cooldown. It'll make sure that he's ready by stage 4 with minimal stall. But for me, I'm just going to show you guys the max potential that this team can deal in terms of damage. So we will be leaving stage 2 with Sabo, Koala, and Mihawk and Perona at 2 swaps left, and then our Nami and Karina at 1 swap, or 0 swaps left actually. So after this turn we can kill and move on to stage 3, but before you do that, make sure to use the Queen captain action. It's very important. So we can, at this point we can kill. A really good thing about Queen's captain action is that, or what separates him from other captain action units like Sobo Mask, is that he actually gives us a bunch of extra damage, tap timing bonus damage from his captain action. But as you can see there, Queen essentially resists everything on stage 3, the special limiter, the bind, and the despair. We can now use the swaps once again of Mihawk, Perona, and our Sabo and Koala, and then we can swap them for the last time before they super swap on stage 4. Queen will kill off Kaido very easy. As you can see, that tap timing bonus damage is really powerful. We actually don't get normal attacks only from stage 1 to 4 in this piece of content. So there's a lot of different cool characters you can use that can abuse the lack of normal attacks only. But as you can see, all those supports kicking in to reduce all the turns of bind. Now at this point you want to be very careful about your order. First, use Queen. That will shuffle all of your orbs into matching. The end of turn damage from that Queen provides is very important. It states that whatever damage Queen does in the turn, you will just give that exact same amount of damage as end of turn damage. So he deals 1 times the damage dealt by normal attacks by himself in the turn as end of turn damage. So our Captain Queen, he's going to be our main damage dealer. This is why you need to make sure that your Sabo and Koala is in the middle left position. This is because we will be using the characters that get recovery orbs to remove the hunger stacks. While we have hunger stacks, our damage is very bad. So our queen, that is our captain, he needs to have a lot of damage. So we first need to use up those those recovery orbs, get rid of the hunger, and then we can move on. But you actually want to be careful, reset quickly. And the only reason I do that is because we actually need to use the super swap of Nami and Karina first before the swap of your Saba and Koala. This is because Nami and Karina changes adjacent orbs and her own orb into G, so we'd lose one of our recovery orbs. We need all three of those to get around the hunger stack. So first use the super swap of Nami and Karina. That'll give you a 3-turn base attack boost of 800, and then also make G orbs better than regular beneficial orbs. This will help our queen to get even more damage on the final stage. So use their super swap, then use Saba and Koala's swap ability, Milk and Perona's, and then we can also use our Kuma. This will allow us to get an orb boost and a 3-turn chain boundary effect. The orb boost will only last 1 turn, but don't worry, Nami and Karina provides us with a 2.25x orb boost on the final stage. Now you first just want to use up all your recovery orbs. Don't even try to hit greats, just use them up. Ooh, I missed. But it's a very easy kill. You don't even need the end of turn damage. You really don't need the Kaido support. Attach Mr. 3, 2 turns of cooldown. If you don't need the super swaps, then just use Mr. 3. The team is essentially no stall at that point until you need more damage at level 150 plus. Now we can use the super swaps of both of our Milk and Perona and Saba and Koala. It doesn't matter the order when it comes to these two. We get our color affinity of 2.25x, attack boost of 2.5x, our conditional attack boost that is procced by the super swap of Milk and Perona. We can then use the special of Queen. Since we have an attack, orb boost, and color affinity. No. So what I want to do here is I'm going to first use the swap and special of our Nami and Karina. This will give us an orb boost. And since we have an attack, orb boost, and color affinity buff. Nope, I messed up once again. No, these things happen, but I just don't know my own team, I guess. We need those G-orbs from the swap effect of Nami and Karina to get past the barrier. The reason I wanted to first use Nami and Karina was to get an orb boost. Queen states that if you have an attack, orb boost, and color affinity, you'll inflict the enemy with minus 30% resistance for driven and cerebral characters. So we'd essentially get an extra 60% damage for our Queen units. And I mean, you can do that. But you won't be able to get around the barrier because Queen will shuffle those G-orbs away. So unfortunately, you can't do that. Okay, so we're going to use our super swaps. You guys know the drill. These characters are great for removing their own special bind, 99 turns, the attack boost, color affinity, conditional attack boost of 3x from Milk and Perona. You don't need these guys at level limit break 5. Don't waste your level limit break posters. So now we're going to use Queen first. That'll remove the enemy's defense up and 6 turns of the 10 turns of threshold. Then swap into Karina's form, giving you G orbs, and also getting into Karina's form, which will reduce the remaining 4 turns of threshold and give you an orb boost. Okay, now I'm going to start the changes to show you guys how insane Queen's damage is. We do about 1.6 billion, which is a lot less than how much you would have gotten with the minus percentage resistance down to the enemy. Unfortunately, you can't really get an orb boost before using Queen. But honestly, the team's still pretty good, and that's a decent amount of damage. Definitely going to beat level 150. Beyond that, you're going to have to use something else, unfortunately. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'm out.